Hello everyone, good morning. Can anyone please confirm I'm audible or not? Last we stopped. We just completed context one, right? We completed context one, and we have just how it's going to work, Redux, how it's going to work. We discussed. Okay. Then my question is, how many ways we can share the data in between components? If anyone asks number of ways, then what's your answer? We can share the data like parent to child, child to parent, or siblings like a hierarchy based. Okay, through attributes we can pass it, through props we can retrieve it. That is one way. Another one is if you want to share the data from my parent to all children, then you can go with the context. This is also one type of sharing only by using context. The next one is like yesterday's small introduction we completed regarding Redux one, so that if you want to manage the state at application level, is nothing but anyone can share the data with any other component, irrespective of the hierarchy. There is no hierarchy considered here. Simply any component can give the data to another component. Any component get the data or set the data to another components or not. Like that. So these are the different ways we can communicate between components. One is like hierarchy based, like attributes and props. Another one is like by using context, and another one is like by using Redux. Now already the first two completed. The next one is like Redux one. How? Now my requirement is very simple. Let's take one scenario. Simple scenario, you can take it. By using Redux, I want to share the data from one component to another component. That is our goal. Now my requirement is, this is my app component. This is my app component. Inside my app component, there has one component is there. This is my A component. Here, one more component also there, B component. Here, one more component also there. Like this, three components are there. The component names are like A component. The next one is like B component, B component, and the next one is like C component. Like this, three components we have. My requirement is A has some data as well as my B has some data. A has some data and B has some data. That data I want to share it to the C component. Irrespective of hierarchy based I don't want, and context also I don't want. Our requirement is what? A has some data. Data you can take it. My data is like name. Here one text box. And then here there has one submit button. There has one submit button is there. There has one submit button is there. Oh, it's not clear. Can anyone confirm now? Is it okay? Can anyone confirm? Am I audible or not? Is it okay or not? Now, can anyone confirm? Okay. Now say this. This is my name, and this is my text box. This is my text box. And here there has one submit button is there. There has one submit button is there. Our requirement is, at the time of clicking on this particular button, whatever the data you entered inside this text box, that data I want to pass to my C component. That is my requirement. Understand? By using Redux, I don't want hierarchy-based attributes and props. I don't want context. By using Redux, my requirement is what? I have some data inside my A component. Inside my A component, there has one text box is there. This is my A component. At the time of clicking on the submit button, pass the data. I want to pass the data from my A to C. Here you should have to display the data or not. You have to display the data. At the time of clicking on the button, my session has to display inside my C component. That is my requirement. By using what? By using Redux. So This part how you can complete, this part how you can complete. If you want to complete this part, if you want to design this part, how many libraries are required? By using React, if simply you can design this form or not. By using React, you can design this form. To design this form, how many libraries are required? React is required. The next one is like React DOM is required. The next one is like React scripts required. React scripts required. Okay. So that these three libraries already you know how to use. So that by using these three libraries, by downloading these three libraries, you can create this form. The next one is like at the time of clicking on the submit button, you know how to handle the event. Okay, you have to take the data, you know how to take the data, but you don't know how to share the data from my A to C by using Redux or not. Hierarchy based context I don't want again and again. So how it is going to work? Redux generally how it's going to work. Here we go for Redux means okay to manage the state at application level. To manage the state at application level. Okay, one sentence answer is like manage the state. State is nothing but simply I have one component is there. If you want to manage the data, simply you can create one state variable. Inside that state variable, you can manage your data and everything or not. That particular state variable is for only that particular component only. But if you want to make it like a global, if you want to make it like a global, that state variable, global is nothing but what? Not component level, that is the application level. Okay, that particular data I want to manage at application level. How we can do means by using Redux we can do it. Okay, if you want to do by using Redux, okay, first of all, my Redux side, okay, if you want to store, if you want to pass the data to my C or whatever it is, this is the flow we are going to follow. First, okay, create one store. Okay, it's a storage to store your data. It's a store. Okay, this store we can create. The store we can create by using Redux. So that this is your React application. The store is like a Redux side. If you want to create the store, so we need one library called as a Redux is the library. Redux is the library. So that you created one store. Now our requirement is what? At the time of clicking on the submit button, yesterday already we discussed. I don't want to pass to A to app to C like that. Okay, I don't want to hierarchy based or parent to all children. I don't want context also. Simply ask my A, send the data at the time of clicking on the submit button. Ask, okay, submit button. Just pass the data and set the data into your store. Set the data into your store. Okay, now how we can set the data, we'll see later. Now, can anyone tell how much data we can store inside this particular Redux store? How much data? From my A component, I can store like a Sachin. From my B component, I want to store like a location. Okay, from my B component, I want to store like a location. Here also there has one submit button is there. Here also there has one submit button is there, which is my location. This is my location, this is my submit button. At the time of clicking on the submit button, I want to store the location like a Mumbai. Okay, so that how much data I want to store? Sachin, I want to store it. I want to store like a Mumbai. So that from my A component, my data is like a name. From my B component, my data is like a location. I want to differentiate why, because all this data we store within the store. If it is like a mixed, then the time, okay, which one is the name, which one is the location, I don't know exactly. So that for clean separation, I want, as well as I want to store how much data I want, that much data I want to store it. Okay, then how we can represent that data means I want like a, this is Sachin. Okay, Sachin is like a name. Okay, this is my Mumbai. Mumbai is like a location. Then how we can set, how we can represent this type of data means like a object format. So that my store is like a, we can store the data inside my Redux store in the form of object. Okay, based on your requirement, which data you want me to store, how much data you want me to store, how much data you want me to store means your wish. Okay, or your wish. Okay, the which format you are going to store means in the object format, just you are going to add like a properties. Okay, here my name is like by default nothing is there. Okay, here my location by default is like nothing. Okay, this is my default data you want to store. At the time of clicking on the submit button, my name Sachin has to come and update this data or not. Okay, instead of Sachin, if I put like Dhoni, then at the time of clicking on the submit button, my name has to update like a Dhoni, like that or not. So that inside this object, how much data you want to store? Okay, your wish. You can write any number of properties. It's nothing but each and every property is representing one data variable or not. So that
Here you can write any number of properties. Okay, each and every property is going to represent a specific data type or not. Okay, here Sachin, it's like a name type. Okay, here Mumbai, it's like a location type or not. So that we are going to store the data inside my Redux store in the form of what? Object. This is my initial data or not. Initial data. My name is what? First empty. My location is what? First empty. At the time of clicking on the submit button, my name should be updated with Sachin. Okay, enter like Dhoni. Till the time, now my name should be updated like Dhoni, like this, different. Okay, like this, different data formats we can store it, no problem at all. String, number, array, object or inside object, like this, your wish. Okay, now you should know how to set the data inside the store or not. Once you set the data, what is the next thing? Okay, my C want this data. C has to display the data within this particular template or not. C has to display the data, so that you should have to ask my C, hey, can you connect with the store? Can we get the data from the store? Like this, you have to tell it or not, yes or no. Here you are setting the data. Okay, here you are going to set the data. Here we are going to get the data or not. See, this is my React one and this is my Redux one. My React has to communicate with my Redux to do some operations. These operations to provide the data as well as to retrieve the data. All these things you should have to connect with the store or not. Which one has to connect? My React. So my React has to connect with my store. So if you need the communication between my React and Redux, then we have one more library called as a React Redux library. So overall, how many extra libraries are required? Okay, 2 libraries. One is like what? Redux. Another one is like React Redux or not. React Redux. Okay, done. The next thing. Now, we should have to concentrate on the first one. Okay, what is my first one? At the time of clicking on the submit button, I want to store the data in the Redux store. We'll see that. First of all, can we complete this one? Okay, so 2 things we have to understand. One is like how to set the data, you should know. Okay, the next one is like how to get the data. If you know that one, then the time Redux basic application completed or not. Yes or no? So how much part you can complete? Okay, if you don't know Redux also, okay, how much part you can complete? See, completely this is the Redux type. Okay, React, right? Not Redux, React, right? So that can we complete this part first? Okay, now come here. Now in a window. Open folder. And one more thing, you can ask the question like, yeah, we can store the data at application level. Okay, like this, where my application is going to run generally, inside the browser. Okay, so my application is running inside the browser. Inside my browser also there has some storages are there, right? Can we use that storages? Yes, we can use it. But the thing is, well, how many storages are there in the browser? One is like local storage, another one is like session storage, another one is like cookies. Like this, multiple storages are there or not? Okay, which one is the better one? Means, okay, Redux store, comparing with that one, Redux store, here unlimited data we can store it. But if you come to Redux browser storage, local storage, it's like a particular, okay, based on your domain, okay, data only we can store this in the KBs or MBs like that. Okay, limited data only we can store it. Okay, for example, there has 1 lakh records are there which is coming from database. That data I want to store within the browser. Then the time, yes, we can store it. But then if you store that much data, that is impact on your browser performance. Okay, so there may be chance to crash your browser, or there may be chance to take more time to load your application. Like this, it's impact on your performance. So that is a recommended way to store your huge data inside your local storage, session storage, and your cookies. But my Redux store is there, right? My Redux store is never store the data inside your browser. It's maintaining in the form of object in your application. It is maintained like a variable. That's it. It's like maintained like a variable. It's not stored inside your browser somewhere. Okay, so that if it is like a local storage, we can see physical data. applications tab. Okay, like this we can see it or not. It's like a browser. If I open this one, okay, each and every browser has the application tab in the developer window. Here we can see this. Okay, physically we can see the local storage and storage. These are the DBs also. These are the storages also. Cookies. These all we can see it all physically available, but my Redux store data is not physically available. It's simply managing the data in the cache, you can say. Understand or not? Okay, so that if it is like a limited data is there, okay, you can go, if you want, you can go with the local storage and session storage and cookies. But the huge data is there, which should not impact on your performance, then the temperature to go with Redux store. And one more thing also, see this. One more thing also. My local storage, how it is going to work, I will tell you. See, at first time load, how many components are going to load? How many components are going to load? At first time load, how many components are going to load? At first time load here, 4 components loaded. App A, B, C. Perfect. First time load, 4 components loaded. First time, first load, 4 components loaded. Now, in my component A, I have some data. Which data? Certain. Okay. I want to store the data. Where you want me to store? Okay. Browser storages, I can say. Okay. I want to store within the local storage. Local storage. If I click on the button, if you want to store the certain data in my local storage, yes, you can store it. Okay. Now my question is that certain will impact? That means, is my certain going to display with the C component? Is my certain displayed within the C component? Is my certain displayed within the C component? At the time of clicking on the button, okay, inside my A component, this data you stored within the local storage. Okay, now whatever the data inside my local storage, by default, is my C can retrieve the data? Never. Okay, my local storage, session storage, cookies data, we can take. Okay, we can take manually. Manually is not the first time load. We can take it. At the time of clicking on the button, we can take it. But by default, it's not affect. By default, it's not affect. That means at the time of clicking on the submit button, how much part you can complete, you know, you can take the data, you can set this data within the local storage. But the local storage data is not retrieved by default. By default is nothing but anybody change any value in the local storage. By default, my C component is not listen. Not only C component, no one can listen it by default. If you made any changes, I should have to listen. It's not possible for with my browser storages. So if you want the C component data within the C component, what we have to do? Again, you have to re-render your page or not. ABC. Once you re-render, then only again you can go to the local storage. You can get the data. At first time load, my local storage is not having any data, so that my C is like an empty. After click on the submit button, my data is there in the local storage, but my C is not able to take it. It's not able to listen the local storage changes. Okay, that is the default behavior of local and browser storages. Okay, but here by using Redux, what we can do is at the time of clicking on the button, okay, my data is going to store within the store. Okay, my C already connected to the store, right, to retrieve the data. My C can listen it. Any changes are happened within the store, my C can listen it and get the updated data and can show it. That means immediately, okay, my searching go to the store. Okay, my store data come and display within the C. Okay, there is nothing is required, no refresh, nothing is required. Okay, immediately it can listen the changes. Okay, that's not possible by using local storage, session storage, or cookies. Understand or not? So we're good. Now can we open the folder? This is our slide. Okay. First, open the package.json. Open the package.json. Okay, these many libraries are there. Okay, first of all, can we run npm install to download these libraries? Okay, still I'm not sure it's downloaded successfully or not. Okay, just do npm install. Okay, now npm install command reads the package.json dependency property values, and then it's going to download that library. See, library files and saves with the Redux by using by creating one of the folder called as _modules. That is done by npm install command. This. And then how many libraries are required? One is like Redux is required, another one is like what? Another one is like React Redux is required or not. So can we create how many components total? Overall, how many components are required? App A, B, C. So already my app component is that and create ABC components. So CD source. This particular application, how we can create this application. Create React app, your application name. Don't put like a Redux, give my Redux or something. It's like a keyword. Don't put like a predefined one. I created manual so that I put like a Redux. If you use like a if you want to create using the command create React app command, just give like create React app my underscore or my hyphen Redux, like this you can give it. Then that it creates the folder and then it's going to download all these files and folders or not. Get the skeleton. Here React component. Component A component is required. React spelling mistake, right? Component. The next one is like B component. The next one is like C components. Where you want me to place all these components inside my app component. This is my app component. Whatever the things are there in the past, just remove it. Now can we import it from where? What is that? Within the same folder. My component name is like what? A. It still is loading. Just wait. Now come here. Now say this completed or not. Only you downloaded package.json. Whatever the things by default we have, we downloaded. Now I want two more libraries, so that can be downloaded. npm install. Redux is one library, and the one is like what? React Redux is one more library. Like this, multiple libraries you can download in a single statement. Add that libraries have to store, or they have to save within this package.json, so that we can put like that. Now, this is my A. Inside this, same like this, import B component from back from my B index or not. It's like import component from back from my C index or not. This is my app component. This is my app component. This is my app component. Each and every component. All components in the app or not. All components inside my app. By seeing this one, you can understand A, B, C or the direct children of my app or not. Direct children of my app. The A component should contain what? Name, text box, button. So that can be create that one inside my A component. So this is my first thing completed. Inside my A component, can we create that? This is my A component. What do you need? It's like name. Name. What text box is required? Text box is required. The next one button. Close your button. This is my A component. The next one, my B component. Can I go to my B component? B.jsx. This is my B component. Inside this one, what you want? Is like location and submit button. Location and submit button. Inside my C component, what you want? Inside my C component, what you want? My C component looks like this. H2, my name, whatever he entered, that name has to come here. The next one, my H3, whatever the location he entered, that location has to come here. This is the one. See, my npm install command completed, so that if you come here, my Redux loaded, at the same time my React Redux also loaded or not. React Redux also loaded. How can we run your application? How we can run npm install it? This is my name. My name here has to print. For now I have coded but in future the data has to come from my A component and B component. Okay, this is my Now if you come here, how much part you can complete in the React? Yes, you completed the designing part, you prepared the template, and then whatever the required operations, if you want me to do in the component level, can we do it? Which operations? At the time of clicking on the button, this data has to send to my that means what? Clicking on the button is nothing but click event has to handle the component, as well as it has to take the data from the text box. These two things we can do it in the A component or not. Okay, how to send, how to store the data within the Redux store, that is a separate discussion. Okay, that one we don't know. We need to discuss. So that this part, okay, handling the button, handling the click event for the button, as well as take the data from the text box. These things we know, right? Okay, can we do that one? Okay, write it. Okay, this is my build.js. Can we handle the click event? How we can handle it? Right, on click equals to this dot function click dot bind of my current object. If you want to take the data from here, then how you can? Reference equals to location like this. Now say function click, copy this one, go to my b.js. Can you go to my b.js? Okay, can you come here? Okay. Now how you can take the data? I have the location reference. How you can take it? Now come here. This dot, refs dot. Okay, this is my reference dot value. Okay, this is my value. Yeah. Now this is my location. So I don't want to change it and make it as this. Okay, for confirmation purpose, we load like this. Okay, this is bootstrap.min.css already we removed, right? So inside my app.js or index.js, okay, see this. Remove it. Now the same thing I want for arrow.js. So here also, right like on click equals to this dot function click, this dot function click dot bind of my current object is. So here I want to take the data. How we can? A reference equals to location or name. This is my name, right? Name reference. How many ways we can take the data from the text boxes? Anyone tell? How many ways we can take the data from the text boxes? How many ways we can take? Okay, one is like by using ref, another one is like by using create reference. You can create your own reference and assign that reference to this text box. You can take it. The next one is like what? By using on change we can take it or not. Okay, on change we can take it. Now can you come here? This is the one. 𝕧𝕚𝕬𝕟. Okay, constant name equals to this dot ref dot. Where is my name? This is my name reference or not? Dot. Okay, you want to check? You can check it. 𝕬𝕬𝕟 my name. 𝕬𝕬𝕟 my name. Now can you check it? Localhost 3000 or 3001. 3000. Now see this. This is my template view or not. My view should be looks like this. Now at the time of clicking on the submit button, whatever the data is there, this data has to visible here. Instead of inside the alert box. Okay, just our purpose is really my data is coming or not. That means my retrieving and everything is working as expected or not. I want to check it so that okay, yes, whatever you enter the data is coming or not. Okay, done. Now this is my location. Here you can write like okay, if I click on the submit, yes. Okay, now two parts completed. One is preparation is done. The next one is take the data and handling the event is done. Now at the time of clicking on the submit button, now I don't want to show this data inside the alert box. I want to send this data to I want to store this data within my Redux store or not. If you want to store this data inside my Redux store, what you needed first? General. Okay, this one is there. If you want to store it, first of all, store is required or not. If the store is not there, how we can? If the store is not there, how we can insert the data? Grid or not? One by one, step by step. Okay, now at the time of clicking on the submit button, okay, the data I stored in the error box. Don't show in the error box. Okay, store the data within the Redux store. Save the data within the Redux store. Insert the data within the Redux store. If you want to insert the data within the Redux store, first of all, store is required. Right? If the store is not there, where I can store it, where I can insert it, where I can save it. So first of all, store is required or not. Okay, if you want to create the store, okay, which library is required? My Redux store completely Redux side. It's not like a React Redux communication or something. It's like completely Redux code. So which library is required? Redux library. Already Redux library is there, right? So that once you have the library, okay, my library provides some methods to create the store, and create it first. Okay, create the store, and then how we can insert, we'll see you step by step. Okay, create the store. Next level, create one store. Now, where do you want me to create? Can anyone guess? Okay, please tell me where A component you want me to create, or B component you want me to create. B component you want me to create, or C component you want me to create. Okay, where do you want me to create? Okay, it's like a separate one, right? It's like an independent one. Okay, you can create one folder. Okay, new folder. Okay, store. Store. Okay, one folder. Okay, inside this folder, you can create one file. Which file? My store. Store.js file. Okay, inside this one, you can create your store. Can we create it? Okay, how we can create it? By using which library? You want me to create a store? By using Redux library. Okay, come on, start. How we can import? Import from Redux. If I import like this, can anyone explain line by line number 1? If you imported with this destructuring format, what it means? Okay, it means in my redux.js file, they exported multiple things or not without default. If they exported multiple things without default, then the time we can import in the destructuring format or not. They exported one of the method called as a create store method. Create store. Okay, by using create store method, we can create the store. That's it. Okay, so that constant. Okay, my store equals to create store is the method. Yes. Okay, once you call this method, it gives me the store. Okay, done. Okay, perfect. You created the store. This part also completed. This part completed. Okay, my app this side also completed. What is the next thing? Just think and time. Next. See, I have the store. I have the component. At the time of clicking on the submit button, my React application has to communicate with the store or not. For what? To set the data. Can anyone tell who want to set the data? Okay, here A, B. Okay, in future, only 2 components only, or any component can set the data? In your application, any component can set the data or not. That means if any component want to set the data, this store should be available to that component, then only he can communicate and he can set it or not. Agreed with my statement? You created one store. If I make it available to my component can set the data or not. Agreed or not? Like this, how many components? I don't know. In future, 10 components, 100 components, I know that. So instead of make it available individually for each and every component to the store, can you make it available at application level? Which one is the better one? Individually, you want me to make it available to the store, or application level, you want me to make it available to the store, At application level, if I make it available to the store, inside application, how many components are there? 100 components are there. Anyone can set the data or not. anyone can use the data or use the store or not. Okay? At application level, I want to make the store is available to provide the data or whatever it is to do some operations with the data with the store or not. Agreed? So application level, to which component you want me to make it available this store? Which component? Which one is the root component? Okay, yes, if I give this store to this guy, okay, contains all your components like this. Which component is that? Perfect. App component or not? So if I make this store is available to my app component, okay, where is my app component? Okay, if you want to make it available, okay, make available the store to my app component. Okay, that means, okay, whatever the components are there inside my app component, each and every guy can communicate or not, can do some operation with the store or not. So that then, okay, where you want me to give this store to my app component, some specific place is required, right? Where my component, my app component is loaded, there itself you can make it available the store to that guy. Okay, where my app component loaded, okay, my app component created here, not loading. My app component loading inside my index.js or not. Okay, this reacts everything we'll see later. Okay, now see how it looks like a previous whatever we written. Okay, it looks like that only or not. Okay, this is only the place or not. This is only the place. React DOM.render. This is my app component loading or not. Okay, app component loaded is nothing but what? Okay, inside my app component, how many components which is related to application, all components will load inside the container or not. So if you make this store is available, to this app, it means what? It is available to your application components or not. So that this store I want here to make it available. So what do you want me to do? Can we export it? So can we export default my store? Okay, can we import it? How we can import? Import my store from where? From my Redux store. Okay, store or not? Yes, I have the store. Okay, I know to whom I have to make it available. Both are there. So that can we make it available to this guy? How we make it available to this guy? Okay, can you pass like this? As an attribute? Okay, it's not like this. If you want to make it available, this store to my application. Okay, see here, this is my store. Okay, this is like which side? Okay, Redux part or not? Yeah, this is like React part or not? So we need some communication between Redux and React or not? If you need some communication between React application and Redux, which library is there? You have the library called as a React Redux is the library or not? Inside my React Redux library, there has one component is there. To provide your store to your application. Okay, which component do you know? Okay, can anyone tell? My context is there. How we can provide the data to the context? Yesterday's discussion. How you provide the data to the context? Create context, provide the data, consume the data. We have one of the component called as a provider, right? To provide your data to this particular context. Same like this. To provide the store to my application, we have the component called as a provider only, but that one is given by the context and this one is given by the React Redux. The names are maybe same, but the providers are different or not. Okay, here this is given by React Redux, that is given by context. Provider is my component. So that this is my provider. Okay, I want to make this store is available to this guy. To whom you want me to make it available? To my, so that to whom you want me to make it available, just pass like a children to that guy. Now, what you want me to make it available? My store. So that we give that my store to this provider. Provider is going to provide that store to this app or not. So that my store is like a value. So that my store. Can anyone tell me the key? Do you want me to put the key like anything? Do you want me to put like X, Y, Z like that? If it is like X, Y, Z, then the time my provider is like what? It's not yours. So that if it is mine, then the time I can place like X, I can change like this X. That this provider is given by whom? React, Redux people or not. That provider is given by whom? Context. In that context one, they asked the data with which key? Value key. But this provider asked your store with which key? Not value. Store as the key. That's it. Store as the key. Okay. This is the way we can provide your store to your application. Done. Understand or not? Okay. The next level, how we can. Okay, my communication and everything is ready, set. Okay, now the next one is what? Okay, this guy has to store that in the store. Okay, that one we'll see in tomorrow. Cancel.